Just waiting for the noon hour to come by here for Ascent Fab's Lunch and Learn. All right, hello everyone. It is now noon Eastern Standard Time here in beautiful sunny Saratoga Springs, New York. My name is Joe Fairley. I'm with Ascent Fabrication. I'm going to be taking you through today our second Lunch and Learn live video stream here. Bear with me as I'm using some new streaming software today to stream this through YouTube, but also capture my screen. Because I would like to show you folks a little bit more in-depth view of our website, of our work order, and then of our new Ascent Fab viewer. So to get right into, again, what Ascent Fabrication is, who we are as a company, what we believe in, Ascent Fabrication here. The website is ascentfab.com. We provide premium prosthetic and orthotic digital design and additive manufacturing services optimized for innovative patient-centric solutions. So that's a nice, short, sweet way of saying we are in both the prosthetic and orthotic field. I'm a certified prosthetist, board-eligible orthotist. I've been a prosthetic and orthotic technician in the past. So I know a lot about the fabrication needs as well as the clinical needs and how to combine those two interactions into now digital design with different CAD softwares and getting into additive manufacturing or 3D printing. So that is the main form of fabrication that we use here at Ascent Fab. We do have some partners to do traditional fab work for us, but we are completely digital. So we would take in work orders from all across the country and starting to get international as well to take in 3D scan data as well as some data about the patient so that we can go through and create your device. So looking at our main page of the website here, right at the top of the page, you do have a link to submit a work order. That link is on most pages at the top or at the bottom of the page. We do have a chat feature. We can talk with you folks as quickly as needed. So someone is manning that, mostly myself, day and night, during business hours, of course. Looking down here on the main screen, we do have our new featured Ascent Fab view, and that's powered by Autodesk Fusion 360. Autodesk Fusion 360 is one of the CAD design softwares that we use to create certain componentry. You know, we're getting into a completely new part of the field here with the ability to create new components with 3D printing processes that couldn't really have been done before. So we're using Autodesk Fusion 360 as our design tool. We will get into the Ascent Fab view in just a little while here, but we'll kind of pass through that for the moment. So continuing on down, folks, we are at the moment primarily prosthetic based, but we do have some fun announcements coming up for the orthotic side of things next week. So stay tuned on that. I'm very excited. We do have a 3D printing shop. So if you are looking to do 3D printing within your own clinic, we can support in-house fabrication as well by being your filament supplier. We have sourced filaments from across the country and internationally to come up with the cheapest as well as the most readily available and the most premium products that we can find out there for our products, and we'd like to share that with you. So you can buy the filament directly for us. from us. And as well, if you need in-house 3D printing assistance, we can help with that and set you up with the proper tools, software, machinery, other 3D printing accessories necessary in order to do so. So reach out to us if you're interested in 3D printing in-house, and we can get you set up to do so. We will get into a little bit of the Foam Flex Air design here in a little while. I would like to highlight that we are able to do definitive sockets here, folks. So let's kind of talk about that for a short bit. The definitive sockets that we are printing are industrial grade 3D printed. They're not FDM printed. This is with a PA11 material, which is a little bit more elastic in nature. And the nice thing about this material is that as it fatigues over time, you're going to start to see white stress marks in those fatigue areas before anything goes to failure completely. It doesn't quite shatter mechanically as it goes to failure, quite like some other materials on the market right now that are being used. So that's something that we're going to be rolling out a little bit more. We do have up to 17 different colors for those sockets. They can be designed to your liking in terms of cutouts or BOA RevoFit designs. Get in touch with us soon on that. We're working with Click Medical to integrate those within our products. So yes, definitely talk to us about the different tiers of pricing there for definitive sockets. I'll tell you right now, folks, it is extremely, extremely similar to what you're doing in-house in terms of the cost. So you really want to get in touch with us in order to take leverage of this 3D printing. We do have a link to, again, our shop for those Foam Flex Air new colors. We do have red, blue, and green available. We stock black. So our typical Foam Flex Air sockets, those are our flexible inner sockets with built-in air cushions around any bony anatomy or a distal end cushion built in. You can now get those in green, blue, or red. Just indicate that on our work order, and we'll be happy to move forward with those colors for you. Looking down at a couple of our past devices that we've printed, we'll see here polypropylene sockets, the Foam Flex Air socket, as well as a clear PETG test socket, definitive sockets, Symes sockets, Symes flexible inners, as well as frames, upper limb, as well as lower limb prosthetics, prosthetic covers that are anatomically shaped to your patient's contralateral limb, and then accommodate all the other componentry that you would need. We're working on kind of finalizing our closure system design. So you might see a couple different closure systems in some of the pictures that we've shared previously. We also have some newer microprocessor knee covers. We've worked on a Proteor Quattro cover in the past. We also have a new C-Leg 4, Autobox C-Leg 4 cover. Specifically for those two microprocessor needs. And if you have any need for other microprocessor needs, please let us know. We will be able to take in 3D scans of those knees or mechanical knees for that matter too, and then create covers around them in various colors, different materials. We could use kind of the more rigid TPUs or our Foam Flex material as well. So getting back down to the bottom of the home page there, now we'll start to click through some of the tabs here up at the top. So just to get into a little bit more about who we are at Ascent Fab and why we're doing what we're doing. So our mission is to provide accessible digital workflows which assist prosthetic and orthotic companies in the implementation of additive manufacturing while designing and fabricating highly functional and innovative prosthetic and orthotic devices. I'm happy to say that we've now been in business for a year. Today is our 1-year anniversary, and I believe that we are well on our way to committing to that mission and have already shown some progress towards that. So I'm very happy with the stage that we're at right now. Our vision is clinicians helping clinicians to harness digital innovations for the benefit of people who utilize prostheses and orthoses. So we are extremely patient-centric here at Ascent Fab, and I'm a clinician myself. I've been in clinical practice for a few years before I started Ascent Fab. I plan on continuing clinical practice through Ascent Fab in the future in various ways. So we really understand the clinical needs of your patient, your clinical needs as a clinician in the field, as well as what your technical staff is dealing with behind the scenes. And some of our values here, again, being patient-centric, collaboration, clinical innovation, and reliability. Looking at our company a little bit deeper, this would just go through and explain a little bit more. I would like to highlight that we strive to be as eco-friendly as possible. We do use some recycled and biodegradable materials when it's appropriate, but we also reuse shipping boxes. So you might see our products coming to your clinic in an Amazon box or something of the sort. That's because we're reusing boxes to try to cut down on that recycling and reusing that needs to go on for our ecosystems. Looking at just a very personal touch to our website, a lot of the background photos are of mountainous landscape. I'm an outdoorsy guy. My family and my friends were all outdoors on the weekends and any time that we get available. We love to be active and outside. And through these mountainous landscapes kind of comes a little bit behind the scenes of why we're named Ascent Fabrication. We like to say that these mountains in the photos represent the key point to our mission. We strive for impactful innovation, which allows your patients to ascend to new heights. So ascending to new heights in their rehabilitation care, figuratively and actually in their everyday life. All right, so looking on into some of our products and services. Again, we are mainly prosthetic oriented at the moment, but we're coming up very soon with some lower limb orthotic offerings. So please get in contact with us for more information to come next week for those. We do supply test sockets that can integrate with any distal componentry that you're looking to integrate. We have developed some distal componentry ourselves to get nice suction and vacuum sockets. So we can integrate any locking system. If we don't already have that in our library, we just ask for a couple of simple measurements of that component, and we will reverse engineer that component and add that into our socket library. We will highlight again the flexible inner sockets. Those can interface with a PETG test socket or one of our other preparatory frames, whether it's our heavy duty material or the polypropylene, really nice material as well. The main difference between our heavy duty material, which I'll get into in a minute, and the polypropylene is that the polypropylene is a little bit more flexible. So it's just a little bit different type of fit. Both would be suitable for preparatory nature prosthetic sockets. Getting down into prosthetic covers, again, the C-Leg 4 cover there. Getting into some anatomical covers, some custom covers with different types of artistic nature to them. And our definitive sockets, again, high industrial grade 3D printed definitive device. We can accommodate a laminated frame with say a Foam Flex Air flexible inner socket. So that is also very simple to do, and we can walk you through that process. Looking into some of our services, we do offer educational trainings in person or virtual, software and hardware, depending on what you want to get into. We will offer those training sessions by the hour. Other consulting services for in-house digital workflows, any troubleshooting that you need with your 3D printer, getting into the actual digital modifications, using the various software tools that are out there currently to modify a 3D scan. We can teach you best practices and how to go about that. And also some 3D design. Again, if you're looking for something specific in your clinic, some componentry fabrication tools even, we can accommodate those requests, and getting into some more artistic covers. So with the test sockets, we'll just get into that a little bit more. Again, test sockets can either be with PETG, the kind of standard right now being printed. PCTG is a little bit more of a structural material, a heavier structure, and just a little bit more costly. Honestly, we really don't see the need to use PCTG in most cases, but if you're already using that, we can accommodate that as well. Our sockets are very see-through, very transparent. You can see the blanching that's occurring on my hand there in the pictures. So there's really no further need to think that we're not being able to see through these test sockets with our patients. When I was using these in clinical practice as well, I had no issues looking at the trouble areas on the patient's limb. Checking out some of the flexible inner sockets. So looking at our tier 1 fast flex, that's just a general TPU of a uniform thickness at 3 or 4 millimeters. That's a little bit of a harder material. Black is standard. We can accommodate other colors upon request. Getting into foam flex here though, we can do just a tier 2 standard foam flex, which would be a uniform thickness foam flex. So whether it's 3 or 4 millimeter thickness, whichever you prefer, that will be just the uniform nature there. We can do a foam flex with just a distal cushion, and that we would recommend to bill L5668 in addition to 5645. For the foam flex air socket, now we're getting into more customizable cushion areas over your patient's bony anatomy, whether it's below knee socket or above knee socket as well. We can create these cushioned areas over troublesome bony anatomy. And we've been hearing some great results from our customers and the patients who have been using these devices. Things like, I wish this was here 15 years ago. I feel like this is a lighter socket, and we'll get into a couple other comments as well. But we would also recommend to build a 5646 code in addition to 5645, and if it has a distal cushion, 5668. All three codes together make up this entire socket. So with the air gap cushion code, your flexible inner socket code, and your distal end cushion code, all built into one design. We see here that we can get into some laminated designs. This was with our one of our partner companies, Bionic P&O. This was a foam flex uniform flexible inner socket with their standard laminated socket for a patient there. All right, let's get into a little bit more about our community. So we do these Fabrication Friday live events now every Friday noon at noon Eastern Standard Time. We do like to highlight some of our patient visits that occur. So please, we would love to see more pictures and videos from you and your patients using our devices. Looking at the Foam Flex Air comments that we've gotten so far, it's like walking on air, noticeably lighter. I wish I had this 15 years ago. This feels great, so different than any prosthesis I've ever had. So really get in contact with us, folks, to check this stuff out. We will send samples as well if you'd like to get this into your hands and feel it for yourself. All right, we do have a shop page. So getting into the shop a little bit here, you need to log in and create an account if you'd like to have access to the shop and these other some of these other links here as well at the clinical modifications training videos, prosthetic componentry, and the digital outpost. Those all require other passwords, so please get in touch with us if you're interested in accessing those as well. But just to highlight a little bit in our shop right now, we do have the foam flex material that we use. We can offer that for you to print in-house as well. We do have PP Prints polypropylene. This is a wonderful material that comes in a myriad of colors and also has a very, very helpful support material and build surface that makes printing with this material extremely easy. We will also offer some PETG and TPU in different colors. So again, this is kind of your one-stop shop for your 3D printing needs in-house. So if we wanted to submit a work order, let's go through that a little bit now. Our Ascent Fab work order is powered through Google Forms. So for that reason, we ask that you don't share any patient identifiers with us. Just a simple patient ID will suffice. If we go through here and fill out some of this information, we'll be able to click through some of these pages. PO number, have you submitted a work order with us before? If you say no, that'll just have you fill out all of your company's information, billing information, shipping information for us. If you say yes, that means you've already gone through that for me, and you can proceed to the next page without having to do so again. Again, looking at the patient ID number only, we would like to know what 3D scanner you're using. We do suggest the comb scan on an iPhone 10 or newer. That is one scanner that we found to be very, very useful across the board for upper and lower limb prosthetics, scanning the inside or the outside of a cast, scanning directly on a patient's skin over a liner interface, anything you'd want to do, as well as lower limb orthotics, upper limb orthotics as well. We will work with the other scanners that you do see here and some others that aren't listed, but we just want to know because there are some calibration things that we need to take into account for your design. We would like to know a patient weight. Does your scan require modifications? So this question gets into more of the clinical modifications. Because I'm a certified prosthetist, I feel very comfortable offering that service to you. Obviously, if you would prefer to do those modifications either by hand on a plaster model or in CAD yourself, that's perfectly fine. You can just send us the already modified scan and we will create the device from there. If you would like us to require modifications, I would ask you to please give us as much information as possible. Having trim lines drawn on the patient's limb over the liner, just put clear film over the liner and draw right over that for me for trim lines, bony areas that need cushioning for our foam flex air socket. And we can really get into accommodating exactly what you need for that patient. Choose your product or service. So let's go through kind of what those look like on paper here. And in another video session next week, I will go through our whole myriad of products and show you those kind of live here in person. So test sockets, again, flexible inner sockets, flexible inner with a test socket with a definitive frame, a preparatory socket, either polypropylene or heavy duty, just a definitive socket, protective cover, lower limb orthosis, only doing 3D modifications. If you want to print in-house and just have us do the modifications and or just the socket creation and a G-code, we will offer that service as well. Or a custom project. We're open to custom projects also. So let's get into what the Say you've already gone through a test socket with us, if we've got a flexible inner socket with a definitive frame. So our flexible inner sockets, we do suggest that due to the inherent friction of the device, and with 3D printing, there is just a very, very slight friction to test sockets and our 3D printed flexible inner sockets. It's almost negligible, honestly. The layer lines are very, very small, and the friction really doesn't come into play a whole lot. If you are going to fit a traditional test socket, we suggest you get into about a 2-ply fit. That way we can accommodate that on the back end for our flexible inner socket. So if we select our product here, let's say we're going to go for a FoamFlex Air, we would then upload a scan of the residual limb, upload a scan of the other residual limb if bilateral. Then you would get into what's the fit of your test socket, indicate any modifications to that scan prior to fabrication, looking at the amputation levels, and again, below knee, above knee, upper limb, lower limb, we can accommodate all of those. Amputation side, selecting a flexible inner wall thickness. We can key in that flexible to the frame, so if you're worried about any kind of rotation or anything, we can rotate that in. A profile for distal cushion. So soft, lots of give, that would be even softer than an Alp silicone distal end pad. Medium would be about the consistency of a Alp silicone distal end pad, sometimes a little bit harder than that. So if we say soft, location for cushioning for the FoamFlex Air socket. Maybe we say distal tibia and the fibular head. Indicating your suspension method. So I would like to know, exactly what components you're using here. Say we're going to use suction for this socket. Now you can indicate whether you're going to be supplying your own component, or if you'd like to have one of these components listed, purchased from us with the order. Anything that has AF next to it is our in-house new componentry that we've designed. So the AF suction cushion is what we would suggest for a suction socket. We do have a lanyard lock that is similar to the KISS lanyard lock. And we can accommodate, again, something of a Bulldog lock, APC push lock, or any of Coyote's products as well. Do we require a frame? So yes, if we require a definitive socket frame, we can also send the file for you to print that test socket in-house. So let us know if you need to do that as well. Just for all intents and purposes, I'm going to go back here for a second and show you the definitive sockets, just with a couple more minutes left here. Let's go definitive socket only. Okay, again, you would upload a scan of the prosthesis, the entire prosthesis. I want to know exactly where that alignment is in space, and then upload a scan of that final modified limb shape. With our definitive frame product here, it's PA11 and industrial 3D printing. And our socket colors, we can accommodate any of these socket colors. The socket finish is going to be a nice smooth outer finish. And the thickness of that socket right now will be between 3 millimeters or 4 millimeters, whatever your preference. Again, indicating a suspension method and some components for that socket. Once you get through this screen, you'll go to a logistics screen which outlines some of the shipping needs. I'm going to move on quickly here for just a moment and show you a little bit more about the new Ascent Fab viewer. So after every work order that comes in and we go ahead and design that device, we will now be emailing you a link to view your device before that order has been produced. So this also comes with a slight clause that if you do not respond with an approve or deny within 24 hours, we will move forward with fabrication as it is approved. So we do ask if you would like to submit some comments on this, that they be timely within 24 hours for us. Looking at this environment here from Fusion 360, we can zoom in and out. We can look at the model browser and hide the separate devices. We can take a look at that modified limb shape. And we can even go through a cross section of the device and see exactly how that's going to be made. For our foam flex air cushion sockets here, looking at some of this cushion buildup area over that bony anatomy, this isn't exactly what it will look like while it's in here, but you will know that there is cushion area within that. So just a nice different separate tool for you to be able to give us some feedback again on whether or not you would like any changes to that device. So thanks again, everyone. My name is, again, Joe Fairley with Ascent Fabrication here. I want to just thank you all for taking the time to watch this today, and hope you all have a great weekend.